Hello everyone. Once again, thank you for joining this last session in which I am explaining to you the last part of expository paragraphs. In the third video of this series, I am explaining the comparison and contrast, both combined to create one single style of paragraphs. But what is a comparison and contrast paragraph? To compare is to examine how things are similar, while to contrast is to see how they differ. A comparison and contrast paragraph therefore looks at the similarities of two or more objects and their differences. This type is common at university, where lecturers or teachers frequently test your understanding by asking you to compare and to contrast two theories, two methods, two historical periods, two characters in a novel, etc. Which ones are the words that we need to use in order to make comparison and contrast? Well, to compare, we use words like similarly, likewise, also, both and, not only but also, neither nor, just like, similar to be similar to be the same as, to be alike, to compare to, or to compare with. Some examples of these: computers can be used to communicate easily, for example, via email. Similarly, likewise, the mobile phone is a convenient tool for communication. Both computers and mobile phones can be used to communicate easily with other people. Just like the computer, the mobile phone can be used to communicate easily with other people. The computer is similar to the mobile phone in the way it can be used for easy communication. Then we have some words that we can also use in order to prompt the contrast in a comparison and contrast paragraph. And these ones are, however, in contrast, in comparison, by comparison, on the other hand, while, whereas, but, to differ from, to be different from, to be dissimilar to be unlike. Some examples using the words are: computers, although increasingly small, are not always easy to carry from one place to another. However, the mobile phone can be carried with ease. Computers are generally not very portable, whereas the mobile phone is. Computers differ from mobile phones in their lack of portability. Computers are like mobile phones in their lack of portability. So how do we get the two elements be in just one paragraph? Well, now the theory I have given you about writing a topic sentence that includes or discusses just one idea is forgotten. Why? Because here you're going to compare and contrast. How do we do that? We have a structure that we can follow, and I suggest you two. There are two main ways to structure a comparison and contrast paragraph. So these two ways, in order for you to know how to make a comparison and contrast paragraph, will include either a block or a point-by-point structure. How do we write that? For the block structure, all the information about one of the objects being compared or contrasted is given first, and all the information about the other subject is listed afterwards. What does it mean then? That you're going to create a block where you're going to present object 1 and then you're going to present object 2. So you will compare and contrast the first object, and then you will compare and contrast the second object or person you are talking about. Then, for the point-by-point structure, each similarity or difference for one object is followed immediately by the similarity or the difference of the other one. Both, it means that you have to make both comparing object 1 and comparing object 2, and then comparing and contrasting both objects. Both types of structure have their merits. The former is easier to write, while the latter is generally clearer, as it ensures that the similarities and differences are more explicit because they are followed one after the other. How does that work? Take a look at the ways your paragraph may look like. If this one is a block structure, you will have, as I was telling you, a topic sentence, and then you will present object 1, and you will present the first point, the second point, and the third point about it. But then you have to make a transition that will tell you that you will introduce the comparison and the contrast for object 2. Subject 2 will have point 1, point 2, and point 3, and then we wrap up the sentence, the final sentence, by writing the concluding sentence. What if you do it point by point? You will have a topic sentence, and then you will talk about the point 1, that you will compare object 1 and object 2. Point 2 will compare or contrast object 1 and object 2. And finally, point 3 will compare and contrast object 1 and object 2 again. And you will end up with a conclusion. I'm very proud to present you an example that one of the former groups that I made for the first contingency plan wrote the first draft of this paragraph. Although I have made some corrections and I have highlighted some words in order to make it easier for you to follow my reading and for you to understand and to analyze the parts of this paragraph, I am very proud, as I told you, I'm very glad to tell you that this paragraph was written by one of the groups in this contingency phase 1. This is the example of one of the groups, and I congratulate them for the very good work. As you will see, ideas are super good and the vocabulary is very nice, and besides that, it's clear. I really didn't do much in the paragraph. I just corrected some ideas, as I told you, in order to show you the structure that you follow, but they had very nice ideas to be a first draft. So congratulations to the group who did it. Let's read. And having a strong liaison, both Octavio and Trinity seem starkly attractive and opposite poles apart because they differ in pleasures. They both love spending time together. Trinity enjoys going for a cup of coffee during Saturday afternoons, whereas Octavio prefers going to bars for dancing and drinking whiskey. Albeit, both do not agree to go out to the same place on Saturdays. They go with each other faithfully. Both of them like reading, but Trinity delights reading romantic and horror literature, while Octavio savors reading history pieces and biography articles. Even though they do not have the same reading delectations, both together delight to write poems to each other. They love outdoor activities together. He loves climbing mountains on vacations. Conversely, she sets great store by going to the beach during holidays. They decide to spare time as a couple, but they sometimes separate all along those days off. They do not feel displeased making that decision because they already live together. Differing in pleasures completely, both seem incompatible, even though they have a well-built relationship. As you may see here, both the topic and the concluding sentence suggest that we're going to have both comparison and contrast. And here in the paragraph, you will see examples that will tell you how they created this paragraph. They use the point-by-point structure, which is the most difficult but the most accurate. Here in this first idea, they are comparing because they say they both love spending time together. Trinity enjoys going for a cup of coffee, whereas then they are contrasting. Then I added one point in which they will be doing both. They will be comparing and contrasting both. Albeit both do not agree to go out on the same place on Saturdays, they go with each other faithfully. Then the second idea is that both of them like reading, but Trinity likes reading romantic and horror literature, while Octavio, they like this, but they differ in this. So comparison and contrast. Here again, you exemplify this idea, and once again, you compare both and then you contrast. Then another point comes, and they say they love outdoor activities together. They compare and then contrast by using these words. Finally, they provide one more comparison and contrast idea that in some way will present the couple as being together but sometimes being separate. So it is a comparison and contrast sentence within the same idea. And finally, they just exemplify the previous idea and end with a concluding sentence. At the beginning, it may sound that this style is very difficult, and it is complex, but it is not more difficult than the others. I know you need a lot of practice, do it on your own, and I'm pretty sure that our next assignment, which is going to be essay writing, is going to be easier for you. I really hope this series of 3 videos explaining expository paragraphs, in which I explain part 1 definition, part 2 classification, and part 3 CNC, have helped you to grasp these paragraphs you have the most trouble with. Thank you very much for watching the videos, and I really hope that you get all the information that you need to get now for you to write your next assignments very accurately and on time. Once again, I want to thank you for watching and leaving comments if you need to have more explanations or if you want to make comments on the things that you see on the video. Thanks a lot. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, you know where to contact me. You can either write me below this video or you can contact me through the Facebook group. You know where to contact me. Thank you very much. I'm out. Bye-bye.